Good day everyone, especially to our instructor, Ma'am Karen Bolan. We are the Group 4 and we are going to present targeting. So I am the first reporter. By the way, I am Rosalyn Vigonti Kumain. What is targeting and why do marketers do it? The term target is drawn from a shooting or archery range metaphor, and it says we've got our customers in our sights. Now, let's get them. So targeting is the process to increase sales. Targeting is the best way to increase brand awareness and drives more customer. Marketers do targeting to boost their sales and to target customers with similar or the same needs. For example, if a company have a beauty product, so the segment that they are going to choose was the women because beauty product is very popular to women. There are two perspectives in assessing the attractiveness of each segment in terms of its potential for our targeting, and it is extremely important to consider both. We will iterate between our top-down vision of corporate strategy and a bottom-up. The top-down approach goes from general to specific, and the bottom-up approach begins at the specifics and move to general. So in choosing segment to target, marketers use the two approaches, which are the top-down approach and the bottom-up approach. The top-down approach is when the company-wide decision are made by leadership at the top and then communicated to the rest of the team. While the bottom-up approach gives all the teams a voice. For example, if a company have planned to target a new segment for its product, in a bottom-up approach, they will going to call a meeting for all of their employees. Profitability and strategic fit. The first perspective in assessing segments to target is a view of segments themselves. And the primary question is, how likely is it that the segment will be profitable? And just how profitable? Potential profitability is a function of the current market size, its anticipated growth, current and anticipated levels of competition, and customer behavior and expectation. The second perspective requires that we take hard look at our own business capabilities. Does the segment fit with who we are? Are we going to be able to satisfy the segment? What is our strength? Could we service? So to be able to identify the segments to target, the company must ask the primary question just like, paano makikinabang ang pangkat na iyon? If the company have a good strategy to target customer, then they can gain more profit. And the second perspective is on how to look the business ability. Like kung ang pangkat na iyon o ang customer na ito ay karapat-dapat sa negosyo ng kumpanya. At kung kaya ba ng kumpanya na pasayahin o bigyan ng kakontentuhan ang mga customer na ito. Dapat ding isalang-alang ng mga marketers ang kakayahan at kahinaan ng kanilang negosyo. So this figure is the strategic criteria for targeting. In the upper left, if the market looks attractive and if serving that segment fits the company ability rather, then the company will go for it. For example, the company manufactures clothing athletic and then the volleyball teams are going in popularity and they need shirts with their logos. Then the corporate will do that and can be successful. On the other hand, if the segment doesn't look promising and it doesn't fit the company's ability, then the company must let go the opportunity or avoid. And in the lower left quadrant, the scenario is that the market looks weak, but we're not capable. For example, is that video games are profitable and growing like crazy, but the company produce thumb drives. So the market are not capable on producing video games. If they produce video games, then they would hire a programmer, and it is a huge investment of time and money. The next figure is what do we call SWOT analysis, where S stands for strengths, W stands for weaknesses, O stands for opportunities, and T for threat. The S and W were characterizing the company's strengths and weaknesses, with the O and T were characterizing the broader environment like industry, suppliers, and governments. S and W are considerations internal to the organization, while the O and T are external.
Competitive comparisons, a company can try to access its corporate strengths in terms of absolute measure. However, relative comparisons to its competitors may be more relevant. After all, customers make purchases choices based on comparing brands. In Figure 5.3 is an example of such a comparative analysis called a perceptual map. This map shows customers' perceptions of our strengths and weaknesses with our competitors. The two dimensions of equality and price might look or abstract, but indeed, most and benefits in many products categories can be whittled down to these two. The important thing to remember about quality is that the defining dimensions vary with the industry. The market depicted in Figure 4.3 has good and bad news. Our firm isn't seen as the worst provider or the most expensive, but neither are we seen as terrific in either aspect. Indeed, we are seen as relatively average on quality and on price. We dominate competitors 3 quality and 4 on price. However, are to dominated by competitor 1 on quality and by 2 on price. Next figure offers a different perspective to consider when selecting a segment to target. Segment 1 is not the largest existing market. Segment 2 and segment 4 are bigger, but segment 1 growing the fastest, which makes the market 16. Segment 2 has possibilities. Segment 3 has its strengths, and segment 4 is one we can pass on with few regrets. In sum, segment 1 should be our priority. If segment 1 is sufficient in size for our goals, we're good. But if segment 1 is too small, we might consider expanding our targeting of segment 1 to include either or both of segments 2 and 3 down the road. Sizing markets. In Figure 4.4, segments were described in terms of market size and likely growth rate. The inquiring marketer is no doubt wondering how to derive such characterizations. We turn now to consider sizing markets, and then we will discuss projecting growth rates. We will walk through a couple of scenarios of creating estimates so that you get the logic. You will see that some of the inputs into these estimates will be numbers you're confident about. For the numbers you're less confident about, you will want to have a rough interval and probably do some what if scenarios. Vary those numbers, seeing how sensitive the altai, a lot of estimates go into the final calculations. So each component needs to be as precise as made projections are. And what are the likely upper and lower bounds on your predictions possible? Otherwise, the errors in the estimation just get compounded. One helpful factor to consider is that the more precisely defined the target market is, the easier the numbers are to estimate. We will look at an example of estimating the size of a market in the context of selling personal brander services to busy professionals. These people offer a variety of consultative skills depending on the professional careerist needs, from help with public speaking to crafting a self-brand statement, overseeing social media for tasteful self-promotion, even use as sounding boards to reflect on various actions and comments observed and received in the workplace. After this example, we'll consider more generally the kinds of factors that you include for estimating your particular product size markets.
Hello ma'am, good morning. I'm Mary Rose B. Laurenti, BISBE 3E Miss Roslyn Kumahig's group. I read my PPT first, then I explain what my report tackles about. Concept and action. How much of my consultative advice can sell? Consider the market of B-school grads making and making to make zillions. You have a friend who has served both as an immensely successful and respected CEO and who, subsequent to his early retirement, has been serving as a mentor. His name is Bone, and he believes they're meant to be made by selling such consultation services. So you are going to help him size his market by estimating potential demand. My report is it tackles about how we need our businesses can be go and prevent from bankruptcy. These reports it tackles about we need to have an action plan of how we need to have a good businesses and long-term businesses so that our businesses will be go with the flow and prevent from any bankruptcy, any hard and any risk that we encounter in every business struggles that we encounter. At this term, action plan is important, very important guidelines of our business because so that our businesses can be developed and more good to our demands, to our valued customers, and other services that we have in our businesses. That's it, ma'am, and thank you.